Hello, welcome to everybody who's making it for today's Quantum Alignment Show. We are so excited. We're going to talk about combination of human design and biofield tuning and how we can be more successful, like how we can release things that are blocking us from having the success we want. And I know as a human design specialist for a while, I've been finding that there are aspects of my chart that I find really get in the way of my having success. And I'm going to share a little bit about that today. We're going to talk about biofield tuning. What's nice about the audience, the people who said they were going to come today, is it's kind of a mixture. So people who do human design, a couple of people who do biofield tuning or receive biofield tuning, and then some people who don't know anything or not much about either one. And so I'm really excited about sharing with new groups of people and helping people expand their vision of themselves and what's possible for themselves and their businesses. Today, we're going to be focusing on some business stuff. At the end, I'm going to do a mini biofield tuning session for all of us and kind of think about, while we're talking, about what you want to focus on for your business, or if you don't have a business, then for yourself, your life, or whatever, to have a focus at the end for that mini biofield tuning session. And then if it's okay with you, I want to share at the end an opportunity that I have set up for you to be able to receive some biofield tuning yourself. That be okay? All right, so I'm going to start off sharing my screen so I can start talking about human design. And you can see that this is my human design chart here. So in human design, it's based on where the planets were at the time I was born, and approximately 3 months before I was born. So that's the black column and the red column. Everything that's colored in the chart is what we call definition. So everything that is defined in my chart beams out into the world, who I am and what I offer. And this helps to attract to me people who want what I offer, how I can help them, how I can serve them. So when I am doing or saying things that are not consistent with my design, then my chart is beaming out one thing, and my actions and my words are beaming out something else. Does it make sense, Alana, that if I have my chart saying one thing and then my actions, my words saying something else, that's going to be confusing to people?
Absolutely. And that's where we all lie.
Absolutely. So when we as human design specialists help people to understand about their charts and how they're designed to operate in the world, it enables them to get their actions and their words to be more matching, more consistent with what the design chart is beaming out. And that enables you to more consistently attract the people who you want to attract, who want what you have to offer. Right, Alana?
This is exactly what you're talking about that relates to manifesting. And I'm sure we all want more of money, career that is fulfilling. We want more clients that we can be of service to. All of that is tied within the chart and understanding your flow of abundance and how you manifest.
Yeah. So, by the way, I'm Sandra Lee, and I'm a human design specialist. And you can see from my chart that I am a manifester. Okay. So now I want to go into a little bit about the energy field and kind of leading into what we're going to talk about later about biofield tuning. So it's like I go through my life and I experience things that sometimes are the way that I want them to be, and sometimes I experience things that aren't the way I want them to be. I can experience trauma or difficulty or struggles. So how I look at it is when I experience something that is traumatic or difficult, if I am not at the time able to completely resolve that situation for myself, then it's like a ball of energy from that trauma gets stuck in my energy field. So it's like biofield tuning works with this whole energy field that I carry around with me all the time. And if I have these balls of energy stuck in there from the traumas, does it make sense that that is confusing how people perceive me? Yeah. Right? Plus, if I have this ball of energy in my field, it affects how I feel. It affects my ability to be the person who I want to be the person who I really am designed to be. And so that all just confuses the messages that the people out there receive. So part of what we're talking about today is blocks that we have to business success. Does it make sense, Alana, that when I have these traumas in my energy, it not just affects who I feel like I am and how can I express myself in the world, but it attracts how people perceive me.
Yes, and when we're looking at your chart, right, you have two open centers. You have the sacral that's undefined, and you also have the solar plexus. So if you don't understand that in the way your blueprint works, you actually receive the emotions of the world around you. So we're in uncharted waters right now. We're experiencing brand new energies. So there's a lot of emotions that are coming up individually, tribally, collectively, and you can feel all of it. So if that's already out here in your sphere, now it's starting to affect you, which is also going to be affecting others if you don't know that you're carrying that energy.
Absolutely. That's one of the themes in my chart, this having to pay attention to other people and their emotionality. And I feel pressure to keep people happy because of that undefined emotional solar plexus. So I want to talk a little bit more about the definition in my chart and some themes that run through my life and that run through my business efforts. And then we're going to look at them more later when we talk about human design. So if we look at the sun here, at the top of the column of numbers, on the black side is what we call the conscious sun. So I think of this as being what I do in all areas of life. And this is about truth and integrity and the absence of truth and integrity. So no matter what I'm doing, in some way or other, I'm trying to make things better for myself, for people, for the world, having there be more truth in the world. This is also one of the energies in my chart that really has me be a perfectionist, right? Having to do everything right. And I notice when something is not right. So this is something that when it comes to, making business happen, gets in my way because sometimes I don't do it because I can't get it just right. The perfectionism gets in my way. Another thing in my chart that is, in my experience, the biggest stumbling block I have is that I take things personally. So the brown square near the top of the chart is what we call the throat center. And this is where I'm heard and I'm seen and I do things and I make things happen in the world. You can see that the throat center connects through those colored lines to both the diamond in the middle and the red triangle in the middle. Okay, so these are collectively like the heart chakra. So this reflects when I get feedback in response to what I do or say, meaning I get recognition that might not necessarily be what I want, or judgment, or criticism, or correction. When I receive those in response to what I do or say, it reflects back on my sense of lovability, that yellow diamond, the G center, the center for lovability, and it reflects on my sense of my value and my worth. The red triangle, the ego or will center, is the center for worth and value. So when I get negative feedback, judgment, criticism, correction, I take it really personally because I think it reflects on my lovability and my worth and value. So when it comes to putting myself out in the world, I am very susceptible to what people are going to think about me or any little criticism or judgment. I take it really hard.
And how many of you also do this, right? Because this is something we all do as being human. We totally beat ourselves up. We judge ourselves. Perhaps we've received judgment at some point in your life and you've held on to that and you've held on to the story, the energy of it, the sound of it, right? Maybe you still hear mom or dad saying something to you, all of that. I can relate. So I'm betting everybody else can too.
Yeah. So when it comes to talking about biofield tuning, I'm going to bring those things back up again, the perfectionism and the taking things personally. Alana, you want to share about your chart?
Yes, let's dive in. So my name's Alana and I'm a projector, right? So Sandra and I both undefined sacrals, but processing energy a little differently. She's got sheer power to get out and initiate, impact the world, influence others. Mine's a little softer in the way of being able to guide, right? And I love working with Sandra and bringing out this gift that she bears through not only human design, but biofield tuning. So I've got a lot of openness. If you remember in her chart, she had the sacral and the solar plexus undefined. I've got 5 centers here, right? So variations, we all are so different, but yet we're all so uniquely the same. We're all here to be who we are, to express who we are. Sandra and I have a companion channel of the 6447. So we can both dance in inspiration and have all these ideas and see the world in a certain way, and want to also be able to express that, be mindful of where we are, because we're radiating out that energy. I also have the will center, but I have the solar plexus. So for me, it's a dance of that push and pull. And I really can feel just how powerful my emotions can tug on my will center, and how powerful my will center can tug on my emotions. If I'm not listening to one, the other one's going to be doing a dance, pulling me back into my body. So right now we're focusing on the sound of success, and sound is going to come through. And I've got some individuality in my chart. We'll dive into it a little bit more, because right now, as we're going live, there's a lot of individual circuitry that's transiting. So this is where we can hear, and we can have this sound that comes through, and it pairs so beautifully with not only human design, but with the biofield tuning. So this individuality, sometimes it's like, am I in my head or am I down in my body? And all of us are on this planet in this physical form to be within the body, right? The authority that you may have, for me, it's emotional. I need to be in my body. And the dance that I do is I have a split. And am I in my body or am I in my head? And Sandra knows this very well too, because she's got a triple split. So you'll see she's got 2 pieces of her head in ajna, and then she's got her will center that's connected to the throat and the identity. But then down at the bottom, she's got the root that's attached to the spleen. And all 3 of these parts, right? It's like a dance for her of, which part am I in today? How can we start to culminate all of these energies and understand ourselves to be more complete? And this is why we need each other. We need each other, especially in this time. I need people to bring this bridge to complete me, to help me to be able to express what I need to share in the world, to be the guide as the projector. And I want each of you to recognize that every single chart we decided to come into, to have this blueprint right now in this time, to have your human design is such a beautiful way to understand who you are. And more, we've got to come into this place of self-love and understanding and aligning with who you are. And we're entering the age of Aquarius. So it is going to become more and more highly individual. But it's such a beautiful transformation that's happening, because if I'm a projector who's completely burned out, I don't have much to give, right? I can want for things, and I can want to get out there. And I have to say that prior to the pandemic, in the beginning of all of this great reset is what I'm calling it, I thought I was actually in a good place, that I wasn't burned out. But because I've been working with Sandra, and she could feel in my chart that my adrenals needed some love and attention. And if you'll notice, she's more grounded and rooted. And for me, that's something that I can struggle with, right? I've got all of these ideas I can live out in the universe. I'm a Pisces, but I also need to be grounded. And the work that we were able to do to really help reset, and that it was not just something for me, it was in my field for my mother, my grandmother, my father, right? She can go into the lineage of what is in your ancestry, what's carrying through you. And my soul loves variability. And more as I've dove in to understand myself on a deeper level, I'm kind of a manifesting generator at times. And my mother's a manifesting generator. So I already have some of that conditioning, but it is something I love. But I was on that, I guess that trail towards potentially I could still burn out. And so now I've had to reset. And with biofield tuning, it's helped so much that this morning when I worked out, I had the thought and the realization, wow, I used to have to go to workout classes because I needed everybody's energy to kind of help me. And I'm really enjoying the solitude of my own energy to do the workout and not needing to borrow from anybody else anymore, that I'm finding this sustainability from within. And that's what I want for each of you. And that's what we're here to share, to help you understand more of the chart, how you can integrate this into your life and use biofield tuning.
Thanks, Alana. Would you share a little bit about abundance and prosperity?
Yeah, so that's the thing that I love the most. And my background is coming from the financial world as a CPA, a certified public accountant, and a certified financial planner. And right now, there's massive shifts that are going on. And we're going to see this continue, because as systems continue to break down, we get to build them up. And it starts from within. So when we're looking at the energies from within you, the more you know who you are, you're already aligning with your strategy and your authority, prosperity comes to you. You are going to attract it. And what we tend to say is that the ideas, the thoughts that are going to be created, we want to send those out to the universe. Let it come to you. And we need our emotions to really infuse. And this is where you'll hear the aspects of visualization or making affirmations and declarations. The more you infuse this, the more that you're going to be bringing in, whether it is the money or the clients, the people to serve, to come from this place of integrity and aligning with who you are. So important. When we're also looking at manifesting, one of the real key pieces is feeling good. If you're feeling good, you're already raising your vibration, right? You're already at a higher state. And that's where humanity is struggling right now. We get pulled into, let's say, some depths around fear or lower vibrations. The more you can feel good, even just a little bit, and work at doing your best every day, then the more that you're going to be attracting this prosperity. So in the way of looking at the chart, Sandra actually has the money line. She's got the complete channel off the will center up to the throat. That's the channel, the 2145. So remember, we have all parts of the chart. If you have it defined consistently, that's something you're going to explore in your fixed way, in your consistent or somewhat inconsistent way, right? You're learning to do the dance between the push and pull of both parts, right? The will center wants you to kind of maybe hold on to some of the money and know that you've got to take care of the tribe and hold on to the resources. But potentially the throat, it needs to express, it needs the energy to move. And that's the dance of abundance and prosperity. It's a give and a receive. And the more that you're able to receive and you open yourself up to receive, the more you have to give. So when you can see that this is part of the heart chakra, right? The will center is this place where you're here to give and to bring love into the world. That's a dance of, you have to be able to give to yourself first and foremost, and then be able to share that out in the world. And so this whole age of Aquarius, the individuality that's coming about, this is a time for you, especially right now in this pandemic, to go inward, to figure out what it is that you love. What's the inner wealth that you bring to the table? What is it that surrounds you right now? And if that's a struggle to figure out or find or see in your reality, make little tweaks. Go in nature, go be outside, go see nature as it continues to blossom and bloom. And you're going to begin to attract more of that beautiful energy, that love, and new opportunities. People, clients in your business are going to come to you. I want to also just add that the 2 off the sacral, the gate 2, or off the 14 to the 2, that's a really big prosperity channel as well. And so again, if these particular channels are not defined in your chart, that just means you have an infinite potential way to tap into the energies, not only through the planets, but through the other people around you. And if you don't have a lot of people in your life that potentially have those energies, guess what? Put it out to the universe that you want more of that energy to surround you, and notice who starts to come into your life. And now you can be around them, feel their prosperity, know what it feels like, and begin to either experiment or try it on, or enjoy whatever that feels like for you, so you can bring more of that into your life.
Yes. Something came up that I wanted to share. When I'm talking with people about their charts, a lot of people want to know, how can they give their gift? And sometimes they don't know what their gift is, how they're here to contribute. And so I ask them something about their chart and say, can you see how this applies in this particular way when you're doing your work? Right? So it's like, for me, having the 26 being the conscious sun and being aware that I am always out there trying to help people have more truth, help things be better. When I am aware that I'm doing that, that helps me just like, oh, I'm giving my gift. Right? So when I am conscious that I'm making my unique contribution, it's like, oh, this is making a difference for that person, helping there be more truth. And I know, both of us, help people with inspiration, that 6447 up the chart, or whatever way it is. And when I use that in my languaging, right, actually speaking about helping things to be better, helping people to be better, helping people to have more of what they want in their life, then I am lining up my words and my actions with my chart. So just helping people to attract more of what they want in the world, because it's all there, right? We've all heard, that the world is infinitely abundant. Money and resources all just there for us to take them, right? So when I get myself more in alignment with that, then it starts to be able to be attracted to me.
And the simplest way is follow your strategy, right? And that seems so basic, and the chart is very detailed, and there's lots of moving pieces. And even if you've had a reading or you had some coaching, right, there's still different pieces that maybe haven't jumped out, because we have to often remember, you're only going to receive that which you're capable of receiving at this point in your life. And sometimes you only need to focus on just the strategy. And until you can truly understand that you are, if you're a manifester, that you are initiating because you've allowed yourself to go through your own process. And when timing feels right, you're going to let somebody know what that looks like. If you're a generator type, you have to pick up the breadcrumbs that the universe drops before you. You have to respond to whatever it may be that's going to show up in your reality. That doesn't mean you're constantly just sitting around waiting. You can still send out what it is you want the universe to bring to you. But as soon as it shows up, you've got to sit with it. If you're emotional, maybe you've got the authority that takes a little bit longer to make that decision. And if you're then the manifesting generator, once you decide, you're going to go for it. You're going to become more of that manifester that just needs to let people know what's going on. You're moving into action. If you're a projector like myself, we're waiting for recognition. We're waiting for that space to open up, whether it's through the invitation or knowing whatever it feels correct for us, that we're being seen, we're being recognized, we're being heard, that now you get to respond and move into action. And if you're the reflector, your process may take a little longer, but that's because you're doing the dance of who are you with? What energies are you picking up? Where are you with the moon? What's going on? What feels true for you? And the more that we do this dance, it gets faster and faster. And I have the emotional authority. And what I find is the more clear that I can be on what it is I want to create and what I want to have happen, the faster the decision actually can be made, right? I used to be wishy-washy and think, I don't know, but I wasn't giving myself enough time to make that decision. So think about this in the context of your personal life and how it then moves into your professional life and your financial life, your spiritual life, every single aspect. This is a web that's interwoven, and there are patterns where if you're doing something in one area, you're going to more than likely see that it's kind of moved out into these other areas and are affecting you in some way. So the basic strategy, following your authority, really listening to yourself means that you love yourself. And you're not going to self-sacrifice anymore. You're going to put boundaries in place. And this is something that I work on, right? We all work on, because there's things that we want to share out in the world. And if you've been told you're too big or too loud, and I have a lot of manifestors that they're too loud or they're too much, and manifesting generators as well. I want you to know, whatever that sound is that you're still vibrating and you're feeling from within, that's going to hold you back. And the only person who can say what you get to be is you. You get to come from that place.
I realize that for those of you who don't know human design, you might be overwhelmed because we've been talking a lot about a whole bunch of different stuff. The truth is that Alana or I or any human design specialist could talk about your chart, any one chart, for hours. So just to know that if you have a reading, there will be a lot of information, but we'll break it down in a way that you can understand it, and we record it so you can listen to it again. So it's like the prospect of coming in and listening to this conversation is like, whoa, I can't handle all of that, right? We help you to be able to see how the things that we're talking about relevant to your chart actually show up in your life, right? So it's like I say, do you try to make things better? This thing that I'm showing you on this chart, can you see how that shows up in your life? So that it starts to have a context to it, so that you can relate to it. And then you go back out into your life and it's like, oh, that's what she was talking about, right? So just to know that if you ever actually have a human design reading, we will ground it for you and help you see it practically happening in your life, and then give you things that you can do about it.
And that's the fun part. That's the fun part, right? You're doing this dance, you're learning who you are. And we don't know how to dance with a partner when we first get started. And maybe you step on toes and you knock into each other, but that's okay. That's what we're all doing. And humanity is shifting to accept each other, to love each other. And it starts from within, first and foremost. So if you're afraid you're going to step on other people's toes and you're going to make the mistakes, we can let that go. We can let all of these old fears, all of these old pieces that aren't serving us, let it go. And that's really what this time right now, this reset, is all about. What is it that's bringing you joy? What are the things that you love, that you want to put out there? If you're unsure of your purpose, those are the core pieces to go to, because what are the things that are allowing you to feel your best? And anything other than that, whether you have your solar plexus defined or not, it's showing you, are you moving closer to what you want and what you love, or further away? And that's the dance that I do every day with my emotions. When I realize, am I feeling okay or am I upset? And then I realize, oh, well, it's because I really want that. And I had no idea, right? I'm doing this split dance, and we've got these conundrums and things, and we're all working through it. But the more I am experiential, that works for me, the more that I get to really understand and integrate. And that's the core of what I love doing with clients as well. It's about integration, baby steps, right? If you're an infant, I can't feed you a steak. You don't even have teeth yet. So it's that level of going where you are, meeting you where you are, you being able to receive whatever it is that you're here to receive. And I find that often the reason I also record the sessions is because sometimes the seeds I'm planting for you right now are actually for your future self, for when you're ready and you can come back and now everything just integrates and it makes sense. And that's really what we're here to help you with.
Yeah. Okay. We ready to talk about biofield tuning?
Yes, I think we have one question here.
Oh, okay.
Victoria says, what's your advice for people with an open heart, ego triangle, about your topic, abundance, money, and business? So I'll start out. The will center, right? This is where we have our resources. This is where money and value can really sit in the chart. And remember, if you have it undefined or open, this is the energy you're going to pull and feel from around you. So notice the people in your life. What energies are you able to, let's say, dance with them around? If they're stuck in scarcity, if they don't value themselves, if they don't have a lot of money because they're constantly putting out the energy that they can't afford it, or it's not for them, or they're not able or good enough to receive it, then that may be what you're playing with, and that's what you're taking in. That doesn't mean that's who you are. The blessing of having any undefined center is you're here to master the energy. And the more you get to really dance and explore, what does this look like? So if you're around someone like Sandra and I, it might be a little different, right? I love to hold my value. I understand that if I don't put up my boundaries with my will center, people will leech onto me and take and take and take if they can. And I have to ensure that I'm holding true to myself. The more that I stand in my value, the more I'm teaching you or others to do the same, to really say yes to you and not allow others to take over, take all your resources, right? To move in that direction. So when it comes to abundance, know you, know your value. That's what you put out in the world. If you get the sense that this is what your pricing is, the clients you want to work with, you don't deviate from that. You hold in your integrity, you be of service, and you create the world that you want to have. Now, this is where scarcity can come up and say, what if they don't come? What if there's nobody who wants to pay? What if there's not enough clients and I can't pay the bills? That's the scarcity mindset, right? That's the world that we've been living in. And we have to see the win-win, that there's more than enough. There are people who will see you and there are people who will pay you. So that's what I have to offer.
Yeah. More about having those centers being undefined. So when a center is undefined or white, you take energy in from other people in the world in that area. And the tendency is to pull it inside me and hold on to it and amplify it and then send it back out. So part of what you're doing in those heart center areas is you're taking other people's identity information for you in and thinking it's you. That could push you in directions that aren't necessarily where you want to go. And kind of Alana was kind of talking about that, but I wanted to talk about it in a more basic terms, right? So it's like, imagine that you have a teenager who has an undefined identity center, that diamond in the middle, right? And then you put them in school, okay? There are some children who wind up doing things that aren't necessarily what they on their own would do, because they're influenced by a peer, by someone else, to take on behavior, to act out in ways that aren't necessarily who they themselves would be. Okay, so that's the kind of thing that might happen with someone with an undefined identity center. Okay, or you put that person with a parent, right? The parent thinks that you should be a lawyer. I don't want to be a lawyer. I want to be a writer, right? So it's like, with that undefined identity center, you're susceptible to taking on other people's information and energy for what you should do in your life. So for you, like Alana was saying, this is coming in. What is it I really want here? Do I want to do this? Do I not want to do this? Right? To take that in and then filter it through that inner guidance system that tells you when you're doing the right thing, when you're in the right place, when you're doing the things that are there for you to do. Right? So it's like to have that extra step in there before you make a decision or before I make an action. Am I doing this because I feel like I need to because somebody else thinks I should? Am I feeling pressure in that way? Am I trying to prove my lovability, prove my worth? Right? Because with those centers being undefined, there's that pressure to prove your lovability and to prove your worth and value. So to recognize what's the motivation behind the action I'm considering taking. I hope that helped, Victoria.
Yeah. So do you have the chart or the transit chart? Did you have that example?
No.
Okay. So I want to just real quick before we move into biofield tuning, since we're here to talk about the sound of success, we also are influenced by the planets and the transiting activations that are going on. Right now, we've got a lot of individual circuitry. So I briefly mentioned that earlier. And what that looks like, all of the channels that go in the center down the middle. So if you were to look at Sandra's chart, and starting from the 6124, going down the 4323, we're going all the way through all of this individuality. This is where we have auditory abilities, where we tap into the sound. We hear things. Maybe we hear spirit. So right now we've got quite a few activations, and we're right on the cusp. The sun is still in the gate 2 and the earth is still in the gate 1. So those are coming off of the identity center. Those are the individual gates that are transiting. And later on tonight, it's going to shift. And the really cool part is then we're going to shift into where we've got the pairing of the 4323 that's going to be going for 5 or 6 days. Right after that, we're moving into the pairing of the 14 and the 8. Those are individual gates. And then the last pairing is the 3420, which is a manifesting generator energy. But all of these individual gates between the sun and the earth, these are going to continue for the next week or so, a couple weeks. And then right now we also have, so Pluto is in the 61. We've got Mercury that's in the 23. As I mentioned, the earth is in the 1, the sun is in the 2. We've also got, we've got both Saturn and Jupiter still conjunct for the most part in the gate 60. What else do we have here? We've got the 22. So Neptune is in 22, right? Like with all this individuality. So what does that mean? Listen, right? You might be hearing things that you're not normally going to receive or process. And depending on if you are highly auditory, you're going to have more of this currently, but in your chart, if you have some of this individuality, you may hear things others don't hear. And the gift is when you can really tap into the sound. What does it sound like for you? And sometimes it doesn't make sense because you're literally taking the energy of spirit or source coming in. And especially, this is the cool part too, starting next Friday, May 15th, we're also going to be getting the whole 6124. So I know Uranus is going to make its move from the gate 27 into the 24, and we're going to get this for 6 months. I've been super excited about this. I just really get goosebumps because I believe we're all of humanity are going to hear and know and question like never before, potentially get some of these powers and gifts that we have that have been dormant within. It's all going to come through, and it may come through sound. And as it comes through, when timing is right, then you're able to, let's say, translate it into the form, the word that we speak and communicate to each other. So that translation, it needs timing. And without it, we sound garbled, we don't make sense, we can be misunderstood. So just recognize that timing is with everything. And it's beautiful, right? We're doing all of this and putting sound into it, and Sandra's going to give you biofield tuning in a session, and I'm so excited because I love it. So anyway, I just want you to put this into context of how these energies are dancing with you right now, and you get to explore them. And maybe you're picking it up. Maybe it sounds a certain way. Maybe you actually hear somebody whisper. I have a client who can feel it like whisper. For me, it's like a sense that kind of comes through. But just play with whatever this looks like for you, this clairaudience and whatnot. The sound of success.
Sandra?
Oh, okay. Yes.
Sandra?
Yes.
There was I don't know if there was a question on Facebook that is about their decision-making part. Liliana says, what if I'm a manifesting generator and I have the spleen and sacral defined and connected by the 3457? What about the decision-making part?
So it happens pretty quickly with your sacral, and really the spleen and the sacral work together because you have that connection. So there's no real distinguishing aspect. You've got to really listen to your and your You've got to listen to your sacral. You've got to have yes, no questions, and you have to be in your body. So depending on the rest of your configuration, if you happen to have ajna or head energy, right, you might be in a dance of learning to get out of that and drop down. But even if it's undefined, we tend to be conditioned to think from our head. I need you to get into your body. And even if the sounds are kind of new, there's also a level of what's the vibration in your body? What's the contraction or the expansion to help you really get to that truth?
I have more to say there. So there's the whole sacral piece, okay? But adding in the splenic part of the authority, there's a little bit more of a timing element to it than Alana mentioned, okay? So so you can see that I have splenic authority, okay, if I show you the rest of the chart. So I learned this huge lesson, a little over a year ago, that I was going just on an instant response, thinking that that was my splenic response. And I realized that I need to give it more time, because how I feel, how my spleen responds might change. You know, Alana and we were talking about the pressure to keep people happy with the undefined emotional solar plexus. And then with this taking things personally piece. So I have a tendency to just immediately agree to things and then regret it later, right? So I was like, in the moment, my spleen says yes, but I have to look at why is my spleen saying yes, right? Do I need to wait? And so like, maybe I don't really want to do that. So it's like, now I give myself more time, right? So with that 5734, just recognizing that there's a really strong intuition piece, right? But don't take it too fast, right? So it's like, it depends on the size of the commitment you're talking about too, right? If it's a little thing, it's not going to be any big deal. But if it's going to have a long-term impact on your life, give yourself time to let your spleen, your splenic response evolve. I mean, you know, part of the teaching that I've received is that the splenic response is instant, and it is, but it's instant, but then it changes as the instant, right? It's not always going to be the same. So it's like allowing myself to recognize that my splenic response, I need to give it time before I commit to anything that I might not necessarily want to do. So I hope that was helpful. Okay, let's talk about biofield tuning so that we have time to talk about it. So we've all heard about having an energy field, right? So it's like the aura, the energy field. And I talked earlier about how I have these traumas up in my energy field that affect how I feel, how I interact with the world, and how the world perceives me. So I've been doing energy work now for over 25 years, as a massage therapist for over 25 years. And I used to be really dissatisfied with the results that I was getting. I didn't think that I was really having a significant impact on myself or on anyone else. And so I was really relying more on the hands-on modalities that I've practiced for a long time. With biofield tuning, it is different. It really has an impact. So it's like Alana was talking about, I'm working with ancestors, I'm working with earlier times in my life. And I think of it that it's like I have all these layers of experience that I've had in my life. So it's like something traumatic that happened when I was a baby is underneath the foundation for everything that's happening to me now. And I go through my life and I have difficulty with, you know, describing what I do and all that stuff in my business without being aware that, you know what, there's all these layers that are affecting that. What I like about biofield tuning is these tuning forks and sound with the intention of the practitioner to go in and work with all of that old content. It's amazing to me, all of the stuff that comes up as I'm doing biofield tuning. And I'll ask the person, like, does this make sense to you? It's like, oh yeah. And then they take the memory that came up when I asked them that question. And then we help them to be able to resolve it and release that block from their field, okay? So using the tuning forks, I go from the outside of the field, which is where inherited content is from your parents and from ancestors that are farther back. And then I move closer to your body. And as I move closer to your body, we work through the ages, right? So it's like at the edge of the field, you have inherited, then conception, in utero. If you had trauma when you were in utero or birth, that can show up in the field. So it's like using the biofield tuning, we help that to be able to resolve and then to go away. And the effects of these traumas throughout your life wind up decreasing. So it's like, here's the example. I'm a perfectionist and have this thing about taking things personally. And I really struggle with describing what I do with marketing and with business. And I was like really, really blocked. I was so stuck. I wasn't getting anything done. And I went and I did a biofield tuning session on myself, focusing on specifically this throat to identity and throat to will center definition. And when I was doing the tuning, I could feel there was this big block connecting my heart, my who I am, to my throat, my expression, and working with all those pieces and all the memories in my life of, you know, doing everything wrong, saying everything wrong, all that stuff. And so I worked with all of that. I also worked with ancestral pieces, you know, my mother and father and their traumas that had them feel like they couldn't express themselves. And it was a huge session. It was amazing. And then I went and I did my homework. I did my marketing, the descriptive stuff, the things that I had been resisting so hard for so long. So it's like, I have found from 1 minute to the next, doing biofield tuning makes a big difference in my ability to be out there doing what I want to do in my business, which is what led me to decide to offer this session to you. Okay, so I want you to think about the thing I had you, think in your mind. What do you want to focus on for this mini biofield tuning session for yourself and your business, if you have a business, or a project that you want to work on? And if you don't have a business, for your health or for whatever it is you want. So just hold that in your mind. Okay, and then I'm going to do the beginning of the biofield tuning process. Okay, we're going to work with the Earth Star, which is the energetic point below your feet that connects you to the earth and grounding. And then we're going to work with the Sun Star, the energetic point above your head that connects you to the stars, to God, to the sun, to guidance. Okay, we're going to help that energy flow between the ground and the earth so that whatever it is your intention is, you can be more in alignment with it and grounded with it. Okay, that enough explanation, Alana, or is there anything else that you think I should explain about biofield tuning first?
I would say be completely open to receive, right? This is going to help you with your abundance and your prosperity. One of the things we get stuck is not receiving. And so if you are in a place where you can, let's say, lay down or really relax or be in a place, and I say lay down because I have head nausea energy, and to receive, I do so much better. And that may be a prelude to when you start getting the 6124 next week for 6 months, you might find you need to start laying down to allow yourself to take a break. So just be in a really comfortable place to receive, to notice in your body. I feel it as waves of energy. I mean, even just as soon as you hit the fork, I get like chills that go up and down my body. So I'm really excited for each of you to receive this. So just take it for what it is. If you don't notice anything, that's okay too, because there could be layers of things that have to work through. And the more you do this, the more, like I said, you'll just get chills and you'll love it.
Okay, so make yourself comfortable. And I'm going to use the tuning fork to locate the Earth Star point, the point below your feet. It tends to get pulled up when we don't feel safe. So I'm going to pull it down a little bit and then connect it to the earth and bring earth energy through. By the way, I'm working with a hologram for everyone who's attending and everyone who ever will attend and watch this video or listen to the recording. Okay, so I've located the Earth Star point. We're going to allow it to drop down a little bit farther. And when it's the first time that this has been done for you, it can take a little while because we're not accustomed to it. I'm going to stand up here so I can do this. There we go. So stabilizing the Earth Star point in that place. So allowing it to become comfortable for you in this place that's a little bit lower than you're used to. And this is your grounding. This is your connection to the earth. There we go. Now we're going to bring earth energy up from the Earth Star into your feet and through your body and out the top of the head. It might take a little while. So what is it that's keeping you from having this project or this part of your business or this part of your life? What's keeping it from being grounded? Allowing whatever that is that's keeping you from being grounded in this project or business, allowing that to release down into the earth, because the earth is always here. The earth is always supporting you. There we go. And allowing that earth energy to come up through the body, out the top of the head, and then it comes back around like a whale spout. The earth energy goes up through the body, out the top of the head, and around like a whale spout, energizing and supporting your energy field. So allowing yourself in your business or your project to be supported by the earth. I'm going to connect the Earth Star to the earth, and we're going to draw earth energy up through the body and all the way out the top. So there's a huge amount of energy that is here, always supporting us from the earth. So allow yourself to receive that. Allowing the earth energy to support your project, to support your business, and to know that you're always getting this support. No matter what is going on with the world, this support is always here for you. There we go. How's that feel, Alana?
It feels really good.
Okay, now I'm gonna locate the sun star point, the point above the head that connects you to the sun, to God, to guides, to the universe, to everything out there. So I know when it comes to me and my business that sometimes I'm afraid to be noticed. This is that taking things personally thing for me, right? I don't want to be noticed, so I pull my energy in. Okay, so if I pull my energy in, my sun star, if I pull it down, if I disconnect from the sun, if I disconnect from God, if I disconnect from the guidance, then I'm all on my own, right? So it's like allowing the sun star point to raise up a little bit and allowing yourself to be supported from above. This connects you to guidance, connects you to the inspiration and the ideas that are here for you. It connects you to the abundance of the energy and the support that's here. Feels like a lot of people have this whole fear of being noticed thing. So what would it be like to be safe enough to allow yourself to be noticed, allow yourself to take up your full amount of space, allow yourself to really be here, and allow yourself in your business to really be here? Because that's how we make a difference. We make a difference only when people notice us enough to come to us for what we offer. There we go. Knowing that at any time, if it really does become dangerous, you can always pull it back in. But to allow your standing state, your resting state be to allow your energy to be open. Allow yourself to be supported by Sun, God, and all everything out there that's guiding you. There we go. Stabilizing the sun star in this place. Allowing yourself to be noticed and take up your full amount of space. Bringing the sun energy from the sun star into the top of the head, through the body, and connecting you to the earth. I know when I get to my business, sometimes I think about it too much. When the energy gets stuck in my head, I need to allow it to flow all the way through and allow myself to be supported by the earth and the sun. So there's another thing that comes up is criticism, right? So it's like if I get criticism from the people out around me, that's like taking things personally thing, judgment and criticism. So allowing myself to stand tall in who I am and my business and what I represent and how I give, how I contribute, allowing myself to take up my full amount of space and be grounded and supported by the earth and grounded and supported by the sun and God. There we go. Connecting the sun to the sun star and bringing that energy all the way through, connecting you to the earth. Supporting you and your project and whatever it is you are here to accomplish. All right, that's our mini session.
Oh my gosh, I love this. So I've done many sessions with Sandra, and you can work on anything, right? Like I mentioned before, we worked on my adrenals because she could feel it, and they were like, let's work on it, and oh, they were just amped. So we've reset that. We worked on my lungs because I was sick kind of at the beginning of the pandemic. We've worked on recently, we worked on my Atlantean powers and wanting to bring those forth. We've also worked on scar tissue I have from my C-section. I mean, it's endless. And then she's paired it with the human design chart. So it's so powerful because she may get through the energy field, some of the connection to the chart of where else are you being blocked on the physical or on the soul side? Like, what parts of you are you not allowing yourself to be seen or expressed or heard or whatever this may be? And this is what we need in our business.
So now I want to talk about what I'm offering. Can I share that with you? Okay, so I am offering a package of 3 biofield tuning sessions in a group session, right? So this enables me to offer biofield tuning sessions to you at a significantly lower cost than if it were one-on-one sessions. And it enables us to focus on all of our businesses with the perspective of human design. So I'm going to share a landing page that I had created for this, okay, where this is 3 sessions incorporating human design elements into it. Normally in group sessions, the practitioner doesn't focus on the specific needs of the individual people. So I'm offering this something being different because I want you to send me a list of things that you are struggling with your business, or the things you want to work on, or the issues that you have, and with human design, right? So it's like, if you are aware of how your human design contributes to or blocks issues in your business, to mention that. And so with everyone who's participating, I'm going to look at what your lists are and incorporate those specific things into the human design group sessions that we do. I'm really excited to offer this. What do you think, Alana?
I love it. I'm excited for you to offer this. And I know I've also done a group session with Sandra as well, right? So remember, in the quantum field, we're all entangled, and we can be, without even being on Zoom, like, we can still connect. And so all of these different sessions, she's got all kinds of different things. And whether this is something that's for you or anybody in your family, I've sent clients because it's something that, oh my gosh, I think this might help. And then they love it. It's just to really feel your cells vibrate. Like, I still feel it in my hands right now. That's the power of vibration. And that's the law of attraction, right? It's based on the law of vibration. So all of these pieces, like, what are the things that are blocking that you want to use sound to help you heal and clear?
So that landing page is miracleinspirations.com/tuning. And I will put it on the events page in Facebook so you can get to that. If you want to reach me by email, there's there. You can reach me on Facebook. If you want something different, right? So it's like, if you haven't had your human design chart read, or if you want to have a chart read specifically for your business, I found that to be really amazing. I have somebody who I've done their regular human design and a business chart, and I've done tuning with them, and I've done tuning for their business. Transformational. So it's like, depending on how much of that you need, if you haven't had your charts read, then we can happily do that. And the landing page for that 3-session group package, that's the miracleinspirations.com/tuning. So thank you all for being with us. It was really fun sharing with you and helping us all to live more our design in our businesses. Yay!
Yay! Yay! And wishing you all safety and health and abundance and prosperity and all of this that you're going to create through being who you are and being of service from your heart. Yeah.
I'm going to answer a question from Larissa. She got a chart for her manifestor daughter. How can you support her in being the best she can be? Really, we both encourage you to just have a reading for her, because, you know, it's like, I've done human design readings for babies as soon as they're born. That's one of the best gifts that I give people for their babies. And it just helps to know, before they start making big decisions, how they're designed, what their gifts are, and how to manage any challenges. Sometimes children have real challenges, and knowing about them ahead of time enables you to help her know what her challenges and her gifts are, and then to step more broadly into them. It also helps to know how to make decisions. You know, I mean, growing up, there's so many huge decisions that get made. And if you know ahead of time what those are going to be, or what the directions are that are going to be where you can maximize your gifts, it just makes for fewer mistakes, I think. Right, Alana?
Yeah. Yeah, so allowing yourself the space to be who you are. And I just kind of and briefly had just posted to her, allow your daughter the space to be who she is. Allow the safe boundaries as a parent to not necessarily control her, but to allow her to do the things she's here to do. And she's not going to ask. It's more of a telling, which is totally a new dynamic in parenting. But to see your child for this expression that she is, when you allow that, you allow her to continue, just like Sandra did in the healing, to fill up the space of who you are. And as a kid, when we're told no, 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 we start to diminish in who we are.
And like, you know, if you have a child who by design, like me, to take things personally, right? If she has peers that are being mean to her or whatever, right? Or a teacher or, you know, someone who's critical, but also you as the parent know, oh, I need to modify how I give guidance and instruction, considering these sorts of things. It just makes so much difference in parenting, you know, and we are growing and evolving with our own charts still years later, and in how we interact with our children and spouses and, you know,
and
customers.
Everybody's nuances and differences. And remember, we're all here together. We're all in this together. And even when you perceive someone to be different, they might have the same root that's underlying. And this is where we get to the root, right? It's not the symptom. Money is just a symptom. So sometimes we get so stuck on focusing on the money. No, let's go inward. It's usually self-worth. It's the self-confidence. It's the self-love. It's all of this about you. That's the root. Right? I think we're good.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
If they have further questions, they can email you. I know
Yes.
that your email with both Alana and Sandra's email are on the event page. And when I update the description of the replay on Facebook, or when we send it out, that information will be there too tomorrow. But thank you both. It was very interesting.
Yeah. Thank you, Cindy. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for being you. And hopefully we'll see you soon. Bye.